What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. Today's episode, the boys and I are jumping into building better rodeo athletes, rodeo schools, proper bucking stock, proper practice at young ages, what this all means, and how we can make the youth of rodeo better. We're jumping in. Beastmaster Rodeo has been with us since the beginning. Whether you are just getting into rodeo or a longtime athlete, Beastmaster Rodeo Gear has what you need. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout. Dude, we're getting closer to OPA. This always happens. We plan it so quote unquote far away.
Yeah. In our heads it's forever away.
Then you look up and you're like, dang, here we go. Okay, we're about a month out. A little bit more, but we're just about a month out from this. And I'm starting to get fired up. We're getting all the finishing touches put on everything. We've never been at a facility like this.
I know.
I'm
That's
really
like
fired up about.
this one's going to be set apart from all the other ones. So, like even Australia, like that was, an awesome experience and everything. But like this one's going to be different. Like we've the facility that PBR has made over there in Pueblo, like I've never been to it. But I've seen, extensive footage of them training guys and just pictures on the internet and stuff. And man, I'm fired up. I feel like we're gonna be able to make some huge headway with the students that are coming.
Absolutely. And just the amount of the different resources we'll have available there is just it's a lot more. It's like I said, we've never been at a place like this. It's every time we've done this, we've said, how can we make this better? How can we make this better for the students, for the athletes, for us, for what we're trying to do? And like this was an automatic step up and a yes for us when we got the yes to be able to do it there. And I'm just really excited to have everything in one place, like literally classroom, gym, recovery facility, bulls just across the streets from each other. And it's going to be outstanding. And Tyler got us set up with our bulls. And so thank you, dude, for doing that. And, it's, again, we've never done a bulls only school. Actually, we've never done any kind of bull school besides the college mini camp that we did. And so this is a first for us. And, when I was asking you guys and like talking to Josh about it, like what is the best way to do this when it comes to stock? Is it like the approach we've been taking with the horses, or is it just they need to get on, which wouldn't make sense to me? But and that's what you guys said is like, yeah, we've got to get again paying for that stock, that quality stock that's gonna be perfect for these caliber of guys is gonna be the essential part of this. And so we've got a good. What's the name of the rodeo company, Tyler?
It's Tough Enough Rodeo.
Tough Enough Rodeo, and they're based out of Colorado, and they're going to be bringing their whole crew down to help us those 2 days, and they're fired up about it, and it's so refreshing to get on the phone with the stock contractor I'd never talked to, and she was awesome to work with, and she was like, anything you guys need, like tell me the caliber, we're going to bring a big mix, like steps, A, B, and C. And she's like, we'll buck them over and over. We'll buck them day up to sundown. Like whatever you guys want, we're in for it. And so it's just refreshing, man, to see.
Well,
The
there's
change.
there's not enough of those people out there anymore
No,
in the bull world. Like maybe in the horses there's a few more that
I got
like
spoiled that being my first
keep more of
experience
them.
with bull people.
Yeah, you definitely did because like it's just not like the bull competitions have become so big now that everybody's weaned their herds to where
Just buckers.
like they're focusing on buckers because if they're not bringing them income, it's just so expensive to keep them. But at the same time, like that mentality kills the sport over the long term. And so there's definitely a few of them, like in different parts of the country. there's probably one in a several 100-mile radius of somebody that actually keeps appropriate stock for guys to learn on, and wants to see guys, bull
Get
riders,
better.
learn and get better. And everybody else wants the bull riders to get better. They just don't want to have a hand in it. And that's what's so frustrating to me. And that is exactly why we do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been talking about we're definitely going to come together for a 101 version of this, a beginner, like someone who wants to learn version rather than, the elite version, because we do require videos right now to apply, which is part of the reason is like we're looking at these videos, then we're talking to the stock contractor and saying, "Hey, this is the caliber guy we have. What do you have that matches this and what can we do to be one step below and then one step above that to
Mhm.
make moves as we need to throughout the training, right?" And so it's important. So when we get to those beginner stages, we'll be really looking for a lot less than what we usually bring to these, making sure that it is the quality stock that's perfect for guys to learn on and get those proper, fa- foundations and fundamentals locked down, because that's what's through all this, like everything that we talk about, that's the bottom line there is like that's what really matters in these events is getting those skills and fundamentals perfect from the get-go. You will see exponential growth if you do that. The problem that we see is so many people don't have resources like this, and they learned it not correctly. So,
Mhm.
um, there's a stat, and I can't. Was saying it the other day at the school, and it's like to learn something correctly, it takes like 10,000 reps or something like that, the 10,000 hour rule, whatever it was. But to unlearn something that you've taught yourself to do incorrectly and relearn it correctly is like 4 to 5 times that
Mhm.
to recorrect that. It's hard to fix habits, And so if we can create more space for people to come learn the fundamentals correctly, we're going to see the athletes in the sport explode, I think.
Mhm. And I think that I mean that goes down to like one of the things that we see too is like a lot of people teach the skill specific parts of rodeo a little bit differently. Like they're all kind of saying the same thing, but they all teach it a little bit differently. And so like you might learn one thing and it might not be necessarily correct. And then you go and you start practicing that and you practice it over and over until it becomes a habit, and then it reflects in your bull riding, and it's like not getting you where you want to be. And then you come to the realization, oh, I got to change something that's, but you've already ingrained like all of these habits because
It's
of
yeah,
you're passionate about it, you're fired up about it, like you're trying to do the right thing, but you're maybe fed bad information from the start. And sometimes guys aren't even fed any information, and they're just they go fed to the wolves, and they're just going out there getting on.
that
um
was me.
I see that in my DMs all the time, man. There's always young kids like asking me questions like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
what are workouts for this and what are workouts for that? And it's like there's not workouts for that. Like
I just had a
what
kid message me and say, what are good workouts for in season when I'm bull riding?" I said, "Well, that really depends on what end season means to you, how many bulls you're getting on, what kind of workouts like are you doing?" And he said he's getting on every single day, but he hasn't been on for 2 weeks. And I was like,
mm,
so
no.
this doesn't make a lot of sense right now.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, we're gonna have to dig up some more information because that's
Hmm.
not gonna work. But yeah, we get
Yeah,
that all the time, man.
I'm gonna have to make some social media posts to kind of blanket some of these like these bigger questions, because like some of them like they just recur over and over. And like you'd be like, what's a good workout to control my free arm? It's like there isn't, like that's not what
That's not a
working
workout.
out is for.
Yeah.
Like that's a skill specific thing. Like you need to get better at your skill.
Hmm.
And or like, what's a workout I can do to stop losing my feet? It's like that's not a
No.
workout thing. Like that's may in a sense maybe that's like it's a function of your hip
Well, you're
movements and
either
stuff, and
weak
it
in that
feeds down
area,
the
you can't
chain.
do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, or you
But
suck at the
for
skill.
the but for the most part, yeah, it's a skill thing. Like you
Yeah.
just have to develop the skill, and it's like so. Um, we still got a long road ahead of us on getting all of this information uh to the
That's
masses, but I,
talking through it like this helps because
it
a lot
does.
of times I run into brain blocks about I know what I want to say, but how do you present that to the masses,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I get lost on it, and then I'm like overwhelmed and just don't do it, and I post about something like an exercise, right? Instead
Mm-hmm.
of, it's just I'm trying to figure out how to actually play it and word it all so it makes sense in a short form,
Mm-hmm.
because really we need a podcast to talk about this.
Yes.
you know
Which is a good
but
thing that we have one, but
exactly, right. It turns out here we are. But it is important, man, and that's uh, we talk about that a lot. The working out is just a part of the puzzle. You have to be good at the skill work too. You have to be able to ride the
mm-hmm.
drop barrel, control your free arm there. Same in the bareback riding. Um, but then again, you get guys on a spur board and you can see instantly that they are not physically strong enough to do those things.
Right.
So that's where working out, yes, will benefit you immediately and will help you do that better. If you're already working out a lot and you know you're strong and mobile and doing things correctly and you're still lacking, I would start looking specifically at the skill work,
Mm-hmm.
because that's probably where you're lacking, or your mental, right between your ears,
Yep.
because that can be a big part of it as well. But those things go hand in hand.
All three of those. I mean, those are
Absolutely.
the three pieces of building an athlete.
But you have to do all three of those things correctly in order for them to benefit
Right.
you, is what I'm haven't said before, and that I just realized is, even in my days when I was rodeoing, I was working out all the time. I was the fittest guy out there for sure, hands down. I was practicing more than anybody, without a doubt. Like, I had to get impact gel to put on my forearm every time I got on my spur board, because I got on so much that I just had shin splints in my, or elbow splints
Mm-hmm.
all the time. Um, I was doing none of those things smart. I was just doing them hard.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's when, after my injury, after my surgery, and I decided to get back on, I said, I'm going to do this right. I don't know shit about it, bareback riding. I know a lot about working out now. I'm really good at that. Like, I know exactly what I can do. So I took that information. I went to Taylor Price's house every single day and had him watch me. And it started off with one set on the spur board, because dude, I was so out of shape for that. Like, it was wild how out of shape I was for that. But I just practiced. I noticed I would like try to spur it 4 times, and I was like, oh God, that was terrible. He's like, let's just mark it out. And so I marked it out for like 2 weeks until that finally clicked and it was like strong and I felt good. And I just took it step by step, one stroke at a time, perfecting it. Couldn't do the first one perfect. I wasn't going to the second one. Mark it out again, get one. Did that for a week. But then 4 weeks later, I'm like making that thing jump off the ground, and,
Mm-hmm.
no problem. It's awesome. And that confidence that came with that was huge. I was able to take that to the bucking machine, then take that to bucking horses. And it was like a totally different experience for me.
Yeah, you laid a foundation first, and that's something that most people skip. Like they want the end result, and so like they see the skill specific drills that they can do, and they're like, oh well, if some is good, more must be better. So they skip the steps, and they're automatically going from maybe never strapped your rigging on a spur board before to now I'm going to try and hit it 20 times
Hmm.
each set, and then I'm going to do that for an hour. And it's like,
Dude, yeah.
ugh, like you are making
No.
the worst habits right
Hmm.
now because you have no foundation. So
Yeah.
your mark out probably sucks. Your spur legs probably suck, and you're just hammering that home. Like you're cementing that
Hmm.
into your central nervous system,
Hmm.
and you are doing nothing but damage. Even though you're doing the thing, like you're doing the thing that you thought you were supposed to do,
Hmm.
and it's literally become your worst enemy at that point.
Hands down. And we see it regularly at these schools. And it's just again, not a lot of resources out there. And every one of us that does this is a hungry individual. You're not just going to sit there on the
Mm-hmm.
sidelines. And that's the hardest part, is
Yep.
guys ask me my advice, 13, 14 years old. I want to get on bareback horses. You're going to hate what I'm going to tell you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not what you want to hear. But this is what I'm going to say is, go get strong, go get fit, powerful, become an athlete. Like, let your body develop. Start getting on the spur board now, learn the proper fundamentals, and hammer that spur board bucking machine when you turn 16, 17. Like, don't go enter, go to a proper school, and get on the first time with people that are trustworthy, pickup men that are trustworthy, horses that are trustworthy. and your whole career will be huge. But go back and listen to Casey Fields' episode with us. Go listen to
Mm-hmm.
JR's, like these ones that we've done recently. Ryan Gray's, like there's 3 different experiences there about getting on bucking horses and how they all started, and they all at point to one thing being the way that it should be done, and letting your body develop, and you'll see so much more um, from the sport, and it's so much easier to learn good habits that way. We talk about like the
Mm-hmm.
pony riding. I love kids getting into the sport of rodeo, but that pony riding is not it when it comes to bareback riding and bronc riding.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But one thing that like a big piece of advice somebody could take away is like it's always when you're young, like you never want to listen to the old heads like talk
oh
about
yeah,
back in my day, but don't listen to like what they did. Ask them how they wish they would have done
yes,
it,
what would they have done? Yeah.
and their hindsight perspective will illuminate the path for you because they know they made mistakes at some point in their career and they became aware of them and they became the drawbacks that were a product of that, and they probably realize what the solution is. And so
Mhm.
if you're going to listen to those guys, like ask them how they would have done it if they could change it.
Boom. That's a. We should just like get a Instagram, Facebook post out there and just hear about anyone that's ever rodeoed before. Like, let's hear it. What would you have done
Yeah,
differently
that's a really
to
good
make it?
idea.
That would be cool. I would love to see that because
Yeah.
hindsight's always 2020, right? You always
Hmm.
get to look back and say, "Oh, this is for sure what would have helped me." And that was a cool thing about what I got to do was I did get to look back and redo it. I didn't,
Hmm.
look back on 60 and say, "Oh, I wish I would have done this." Actually, and that's why I felt so good. I didn't keep going. Like once I mastered it, and was like, "Woo, all right, it works." I feel good about that. Do I still want to be? Do I want to go to the NFR still? Nope. I love training people to go to the NFR. That's what I want to do. Getting
Hmm.
on was just a bonus. So, um, dude, number one here, like when we're talking about rodeo schools, building the foundation in a practice pen at schools, in the gym, as a new athlete, as anybody, any kind of rodeo athlete, I think number one is building the foundation. What we just talked about, you've got to hammer those fundamentals and get them down correctly. And it's not sexy, dude. It's so boring, and that's why everyone hates it or just avoids it. That low hanging fruit, that free stuff. Again, it's too easy. All these questions we get, I feel like are, what's the secret? What's the short step here? What's the shortcut? There isn't one. There isn't. Just do the thing and do it perfect. Uh, about mental prep, I think between the ears
Mm.
is a huge part. You see,
Yep.
we see at least 2 or 3 guys that, sometimes more, that show up to our schools, and you can just see it instantly that they are not confident. They are very unsure of what they're capable of doing, what's going to happen, and our goal is to reverse that, right? To turn that around and give them confidence and show them where they're strong, and give them the ability to get on and be able to do the thing.
Hmm. Yeah, mental preparation probably needs to account for 80% plus of
Yeah.
your preparation in general. Just because like rodeo is physically demanding, but it's not. I'm kind of lost on what I'm trying to say here. The uh
You could be as
the
strong
skill
as you
development.
wanted, and if you're weak in the mind, you'll never benefit,
Yes,
right? Like
your
it
skill can
is.
be perfect. You could have
Mhm.
all the talent in the world. You could be a freak athlete, but if you don't believe in yourself or like your mental preparation isn't on point, like none of the other stuff matters.
Yeah.
However, like your skill could be lacking. You could be a subpar athlete, but if your mental game's on point, like you can still go and win. Like
Oh
so
yeah. Oh yeah.
like I think and I think JB Mooney is almost a perfect example of that. Like not that he was a subpar athlete, like he's an amazing athlete naturally, but like his physical preparation was ranch work, getting on horses, getting on bulls. Like it was all pretty well skill specific. So like his skills part was probably on point. But I think I've even heard him say in interviews before that he's probably not the most talented bull rider ever out there. but his mental game
Number
was
one.
unmatched.
Mhm.
Like nobody believes that they're the baddest in the world, like
Yeah.
JB Mooney had believed.
No, they don't. Um, yeah. So JB, yeah, if his mental game was unmatched, like you said, absolutely unreal, and what the foundations that are set in the beginning ties so much into the confidence that's gained, right? And how you go into the sport. When I started the sport, I did what you just talked about. The don't just go get on and get fed to the wolves. I fed myself to the wolves, and
Mhm. Oh, I did too.
it it did not help me. It hindered me a lot. I had zero confidence in anything that I did for a long time. Uh, it sucked now that I look back at it and looking to the future and where we are in today's world, that's just not an excuse anymore because there are places that you can go. What is required of that is having patience enough time to wait to go to those places and not just say, F it, I'm going to go get on because that's something I want to do. This is
Mhm.
one of those things that you can't just do that. There is Yeah, people don't think about life and death that much with this, and I don't understand why, especially in the beginning. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna go get on a horse. Well, you wouldn't go strap yourself to a street bike and go send it around the track, would you, your first time?
Hmm.
No. You're not gonna it's the same thing. If you wreck out going 200 miles an hour, it's the same exact thing on a bucking horse.
Oh yeah.
So there are things at risk. So learning them how to do them correctly and getting your that confidence is essential for being successful in this, whether it's gonna be a hobby or you want to try and make the NFL and be a world champion.
That is an
Both of it.
interesting point that you brought up, like that we're so good at blocking out like the life or death part.
Mhm.
Like you think of other extreme
Which
sports,
is
and
good, like, you have to.
you think of the other extreme sports though, like
But you gotta respect
motocross,
it.
skateboard, like BMX, snowboarding, like that type of stuff. Like there's been systems built in those, like where you're not just starting out. Like if you want to start racing motocross, like you're not starting in the 400cc class on like the toughest track.
No.
Like nobody's gonna do that. And in the rodeo, if you're starting out, you might show up to a bull riding practice pen, and you might be getting on somebody's ABBI 2-year-old as their first rider trip, and it's like, wait a second, like
Yeah.
what are we doing here? You know?
That's it. Like, I've got, like, memes flashing in my head right now,
Oh,
like, tricycle, like, training wheels, regular bike, big bike, whatever it is, just going upgraded, and it's like it is. It's really like it's like putting a 13-year-old on a 450cc bike. It's like,
hmm,
dude, he can't even touch the pedals.
yeah.
What? This is a terrible idea. But, no, man, that's all great points. I love it. As you all know, we are always rocking Hui. Hui has the best gear because it's tough, it's durable, it withstands the test of what we put it through, and that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. We're always looking for a quality protein source. That is why I look to Colorado Craft Beef for my beef needs. I'm no longer going to the store. I am putting in my order, and they are shipping it directly to my house. Some of the things I love about Colorado Craft Beef are the beef is 21 days dry aged. Y'all, that does not happen in a grocery store. The beef looks entirely different than it would if you get it from the store. It tastes entirely different than you would if you get it from the store. And the cost is very, very similar, if not better, just depending on where you are. But bottom line, you can fuel your body with some of the highest quality protein from Colorado Craft Beef. Look, the cattle, they're raised well, they're raised with care, crafted with passion, and again, packed with protein. It's the perfect choice for athletes like us. So go check them out, coloradocraftbeef.com. You can order your premium cups there, and they also have incredible beef sticks, on-the-go options that you can take with you, packed with protein, and the best source you can get. Again, check them out at coloradocraftbeef.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word. Going to save you some money on that next beef order. I love it. And that's actually why I got a street bike after I stopped rodeoing, I think, for a while. It's just because it was really
The
similar. The
adrenaline. Yeah.
adrenaline, but also you do have to respect it. You
Mhm.
gotta like it can you can mess yourself up really bad, or worse. And so, but damn, it was fun. But that's also why I don't have one anymore.
Yeah.
I like to go too fast. Too fast. Cool. So building the foundation, get those fundamentals down perfectly. I don't know why it does that. Thumbs up, baby. Mental preparation is going to be our next one. Make sure that focusing on that mental game, focusing the way you get a mental game. Yes, visualizing your rides for sure, but hammering those fundamentals is going to be the start of your mental development here. The
Hmm.
confidence that you're going to gain from that, the feelings that you get every single time getting on it, where things are changing, things are getting different. You can actually feel muscles engaging differently. Those are where the checklists are coming, being checked off mentally and saying, all right, I'm getting good at this. I'm feeling confident at this now. And then as you start to progress through that and getting on horses, the further you get in horses, you'll be able to start visualizing doing those mechanics perfectly each jump further, right? Um, cool. What about today's world? There's so many resources now, and not so many. There's a lot more resources available than there were when we started
Sure.
rodeoing, and a lot more before, our generation before that. Things like equipment is a huge one. Quality, like training equipment, gear, facilities to train in, actual training, what we do.
Access to
Um,
information.
yes, just as a whole, has exploded in today's world. So get out there, like the networking opportunities that are available with, coaches, riders, everyone in this industry that's a professional is unreal. The Western industry is awesome to network through because everybody really does have the same goal of helping the sport, helping the cowboy and cowgirl, and growing everything together, which is what I love about it. Um, but no matter what event you're in rodeo, there are places you can go, people you can talk to, and you'd be surprised what you can learn from talking to people and coaches from other disciplines as well.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's always, how do you get better as an athlete? Look at the whole thing as an look at a sport as a whole thing, right? Ty Murray talked about going to gymnastics, going to ballet, walking around the arena as a young kid, balancing. Like those were all things that developed him his athletic ability because he saw how parts of them tied into being a great rough stock rider and a great competitor
Hmm.
and a great cowboy, right? So don't get so focused on just rodeo, just bull riding. I have to do buck and barrel 2 hours a day, work out for bull riding 2 hours a day. Like, go do other things as well. Go talk to other coaches, other experts in other fields, and how can maybe just one little thing benefit your riding in your career?
Yeah. I think that that all goes back to like starting appropriately, and so matching yourself up. And now it's like you said, it's a lot easier. Like before, y- you unless you knew somebody that knew about a practice pin, like it would be. This is like pre-internet era. I'm thinking so, like way back in the day. Um, it was kind of hard to find places, and now like with the internet and Facebook, and there's these different groups and stuff. Like you can find somebody, or you can put out a post asking a question, and you can make contacts with people through the internet, and you can find access to this information. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whether you have a question, maybe you send a DM to, you know, Caleb Bennett or Casey Field or Ty Murray or whatever. Like, maybe they respond, maybe they don't, but like, at least have the opportunity to probably connect with them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same thing goes with like finding appropriate stock. Like, you can find it now. Like, it's a lot easier
Absolutely.
to find it. It's few and far between. Maybe you've got a place that's got ABBI bowls down the road. It would be nice and convenient to go to, but you might have to drive 2 or 3 hours to find appropriate stock for your level. Um, and I think that's ultimately the best path. Like we've talked about Rocker's path, we've talked about Casey's path, and like those were
Mm-hmm.
pretty well similar. Like they got on appropriate stock at the beginning, and that helped them set that foundation. And then ultimately, Rocker's story is not over yet. Casey just got inducted in the Hall of Fame, so we know what that we
Heyo.
know how that went. and
Yeah.
then and then we know that Rocker's probably on a
Similar
Very
path.
similar path. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, man, I love those stories because they are, dude, if you want proof of the pudding, there it freaking is. Like, I don't know how it could be more blatantly obvious that that is the way to do it. And dude, when I started getting on horses again, Rockers is where I went
Mm,
to do that. And I had a practice pin 12 minutes from my house that I could get on horses every week. I didn't. I waited for Rocker to call me. They bucked every couple weeks. I was cool getting on the spurboard and bucking machine, waiting to drive 3.5 hours each way to
mhm,
go get on because it was worth it to get on the stock that I knew I was going to get on because I knew, dude, first of all, the safety considerations, right? I knew the guys picking up. I knew the arena. Everything is good shape. We are
mhm,
doing good. And the stock I was going to get on, Sid and Bobby and Rocker, like when I'd get there, hey man, they'd already been thinking about what they wanted me to get on because they knew where I was at when I was first getting on. They put me on, dude, just a sweetheart. Like, hey, dude, this is just gonna be like you're just gonna get your feet wet again, feel it out, and we'll move up from there. And every time I showed up, they had they had something that was the same level and then one step above me, and I got to get on
mhm.
two a day, and they got to. It was awesome. It was so cool, and there was nothing. The confidence that I had in everything, there was never even a thought of something going bad. And
Yep.
that's when things go great. And rodeo is a ton of fun, is when you have both the confidence in what you're doing and the people there to help you. Um, but I would say to anyone out there that's starting, again, we get this all the time. I don't know what to look for. I'm just going to go to this practice pin, and you get, again, a 13-year-old getting on a 400cc bike, and it's a fucking train wreck. And
Mhm.
so we see not only the confidence getting hindered, but we're getting it, man, the risk of injury is huge when you're getting outmatched on the caliber of stock that you're getting on for your skill level. You have got to prevent unnecessary injuries at all costs. And that's
Mhm.
an unnecessary injury because the injuries that are going to happen in rodeo are real. You're going to get hurt. So preventing the or dropping the percentages of those happening is essential. So and getting on outmat stock that you shouldn't be getting on is pretty much the number one way to bump those numbers up a lot,
Yep.
a lot, a
Yeah.
lot.
I think
So
I think something else that can kind of fall into, this, like, I don't know, mm, uh so, well, yeah, something else that can fall into this is like getting individualized construction instruction. And so like that would be like finding a mentor. I was really blessed, and I don't even know how it happened, but like when I was pretty young in my career, still getting on steers, like there happened to be a guy at the junior rodeo that was bringing his son who had at least been further than what I had imagined myself going at that point. And so like he was able to pour into me, and like I was able to go over to his house, and I could, get spend one-on-one time with him getting on drop rail and stuff, and like that helped so much. And like that's another thing is like finding a mentor or finding a place where you can get one-on-one time with people, and
mhm,
that's something that we harp on so big at our OPAs. That's why we keep the class sizes so small, is because you go to some other schools and there's 40 to 60 kids and one or two coaches, and it's like you're not getting
mm-mm,
any one-on-one time. You're getting like the blanket statements,
mhm.
but from every from every angle, it's like, you know, uh, you got to do this. You got to keep your free arm in the air, lift on your rigged, repeat. And it's like okay, I'm
What?
trying to do those things, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be working. Um, but that's where we break it down at OPAs a lot different. Is
Mhm.
everybody's getting a lot more one-on-one time, a lot more individual instruction, and if you don't have that right now, I would highly recommend you find somebody, maybe even if they're not local to you, somebody that you can send videos to or something that is going to help you fix your problems that you're experiencing right now, not just give you the.
Yeah, and here's like I know I think you do this too, but I personally offer mentorship with
Mhm.
my coaching plan. So I have bareback riders that are signed on with me. But here's the deal. The mentorship is not just me looking at rides. I don't give a shit about looking at rides if you're not putting in the work elsewhere. They're sending me obviously workout videos every single day. They're
Mhm.
checking in. Dude, I have them recording stats on everything, their recovery rates every single day. I'm tracking everything to see how the training is affecting their body versus, and on top of that, the competition. He's one of these guys in college, bareback rider, but he's, dude, sends me spurboard videos, sends me rides from the college road, every ride from the college rodeo, every ride from practice. We are breaking everything down, and we're seeing now. I get to see in the rides where he is weak, what's going on. Is that a weakness muscle wise, or is that a skill
Mm-hmm.
problem? Got to find kind of one of each, and so he's been training with me. It's like we're on week 10 or 11 right now, so a couple months. And dude, his progress, like how his body looks, first of all, he looks like an athlete now.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, he is it's funny because he's one of those guys that he wants to go ham just like everyone else, but he also wants to listen to coach. Like he
Mm-hmm.
wants to be coachable, which is the biggest thing. And you can see like on the scoreboard, I'm like, stop doing 20 reps. I want to see 2 perfect reps, and I want to see you mash and drag it out of him. I don't care if you can do it 20 times if you can't do it 2 times perfect.
Right.
You can see him. He does 2 perfect. He just wants to keep going, but he stops and he makes
Mm-hmm.
himself reset. Well, we've built that up over time now, and you should see his rides from first when we started to now. It's like night and day, and we're about that close to having a huge breakthrough. And I have never met the kid in person or seen him in person. This is just all remote,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the cool thing about what we're able to do with things like that. But getting on proper stock, yes, is huge. Um, and finding a mentor is even bigger, man. When I first started riding, Chris Harris, who is not around any longer, but was a great friend of mine, and Chad Rutherford, who is still riding and doing well, is another great friend of mine. Me, Chad, and Richie all started at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
we went to the first school together, went to Chris Harris's school, and he believed in us like nobody else has ever believed in me from the get go. And he was our mentor, man. And like he took us out. We'd go out at his house, we'd get on the surfboard, yes, but 90% of it was like learning how to be a good dude. Take us
Mm-hmm.
out hunting, take us out fishing. He had bucking horses, he raised white-tailed deer, teach us about that, like and the lessons that being a cowboy applied to all that. Like I took so much away from that, and also the confidence I took from just made me believe I was a badass, and that's what you have to be able to do. And that's what, Casey, all these guys that are mentors to other athletes, they're there for you. Like this is the only sport that, and we said before, this they're accessible to you. You can
Mm-hmm.
reach out to them, you can message them, and percentage of them getting back to you is pretty high. Is like pretty high. So take a chance. You never know. Reach out, find someone that can help you, and it again can change your life and your game.
Yeah.
Um, what else were we gonna say on that?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Uh, we kind of talked about this too, the skill development, like progressing, right? Don't go
Mm-hmm.
from a beginning level animal to a round one NFR animal.
Yeah.
Just not, and that I think that goes without saying. But again, that's without guys just don't know. If you're going to a random practice pen, you do not know. And if the contractor doesn't really care about you, or all he cares about is getting his animals bucked, who knows? Like you don't. It's a shit show. So just be smart about where you're going. And the other thing is, if you're new to this and you don't know animals very well, I highly suggest going to learn how to ride a regular horse. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go learn how to be a horseman. Go learn how to work livestock. A lot of these stock contractors are looking for help. They'll teach you how to work the back pins. They'll teach you how to move stock from pin to pin, loading them, sorting them. Learning how to read animals is a huge part about being a successful cowboy and bareback rider, bronc rider. You're working with that animal. Um, that's Chris Harris again taught me, and Chad and Richie and anyone he taught, like that was number one, dude. We didn't put a rigging on him when they got in there. You got a neck rope on him and like loved on him, talked to
Mm-hmm.
him, like get him licking their lips and thinking like, oh, we're cool, like we're good. Because a lot of times, again, then we were getting on colts. They're learning too. They're just as scared as we are getting
Yep.
on, And so, and you've seen it at our schools too. When we do actually load the colts that last day, we'll run through there and shake on manes and love on them and talk to them till when they run in there, they're all trying to flip over, and by the end of it, they're just standing there and they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a skill and it's an art being able to work with horses and know horses and bulls on the same thing.
Oh yeah, it's exactly the same.
Dalton Castle is someone that comes to mind. He doesn't dude does not work out. Like if he
Mm-hmm.
does, he doesn't. Like I'm just gonna say that I don't know that
I don't think
100%.
he, I think he's yeah, I think he said that publicly before that he does not. Yeah.
But I was around him last year and he was saying that he just got in like he went all into being around bulls all day. Like he wanted to know everything about bulls, read bulls, be around them. So he bought bucking bulls and he started raising them and he started working them and like getting on them every day. And like that's what really helped him get there.
Mhm.
That's huge. Instead of like he didn't just go say I want to go to every practice pin. He said, "No, I'm going to learn the animal. I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to read them and see why they act the way they do and why they do things the way they do. It's only going to help your ability to ride them." And my brother's another. I've said this before. World champion mounted shooter. Kid's been on a horse since he was 2 or 3. Incredible horseman. It made total sense that when he got on a bucket horse that it went really well because he already knew how they moved. He already could
Mhm.
feel them. Casey, the same thing. Yeah, guys were in the gym at 6 a.m., but were they horseback, bareback, leading around the arena in a rigging, loping around, feeling the horse? What does that feel like? No, they weren't.
Yeah.
But again, it's not sexy, and none of
Yeah.
that is super exciting. It's just
Yeah.
the rawness that it takes to get it done. But what that all leads to is long-term success, and
Mhm.
sometimes creating a whole new level of your own, which is what all these guys we've talked about have done. Um,
And
building
one
that
thing I would
confidence
add
and
to that
trust.
even
Yeah,
too
go
is
for it,
like
dude.
you even just like establish a better relationship with your contractor whenever you're
Oh
like
yeah.
willing to do that. Like so I
Mhm.
mean for example, like the bulls that we're taking to the OPA are my practice bulls every week. And so like he's got a whole like range of bulls. So like kind of the trade off is I get on a couple really good ones that are kind of older campaigners that are just good for practice. But then he's got 3 year olds that he's got to train.
Mhm.
And so like if you
Mhm.
know a lot about how to I mean you're training that animal every time you get on him. So
Mhm.
like if you get in that buck and shoot and he's flipping around and stuff like that, part of his training is how you're reacting to it.
Yeah.
And
You're not
like
Mhm.
climbing up off of him every two
yeah, I mean, if
seconds
you're
and
getting off
trying
of
to
them
get
and you're
out.
not, but you gotta like, I mean, it kind of goes again to like how you said if you're reading the animal and you're preventing injury risk because you know how they're gonna move in that buck and shoot.
Mhm.
And then like it even goes even outside of it. Like you go out there and you start riding one, and he's making good moves, and you feel good about where you're at. Step off of him, and now that bull,
Mhm.
you just train that bull just like they do with a bucking dummy, but you
Mhm.
feel good about everything you did, and it goes a long way with a contractor of not only are you
Mhm.
there to better yourself, but you're there to better his animals that are going to help you further along in your career as you're practicing.
Yeah, that's a really, really cool point, dude. Um, and again, so important to learn as a rodeo cowboy, as an athlete. Like you've got to learn those things about the animals because you're working with them. There are definitely
Mhm.
tricks and tips that you can learn that will help the animal buck better and help you be able to ride better with that animal. Um, we see guys not all the time anymore. You see it a lot more back in the day, but guys just throwing equipment on and pulling down as tight as they could wherever it sat, and that was that. Well, we know a lot more about the sport now and where your rigging sits, where your rope sits, how you pull them, the type of equipment that you have, the type of latigos you're using, the type of cinch, like it all matters. And being able to help those animals breathe and be able to be athletic as well.
Mhm.
Um, but getting on the contractor's good side is a great start, guys. Like that,
Yeah.
that is a really important thing. And when I first started, I went and worked for Sammy Andrews, and his deal was I drove trucks for him all summer, hauled horses up for him. I ran every perf with him, but I got to get on at every single perf. And you know what he did? He brought one horse for me. I got on the same horse every single performance for like 2.5 months. It was Dakota Gold. It's just a sweet little hopper every time they left, round left. But that's what made me decent. That's what made me able to actually, do the deal. Before that, I was terrible, but I got comfortable with that horse. I got comfortable with the being in arenas, and
Yeah,
by
the
the finally,
environment.
yeah, just being in crowds and the nervousness and uh, could barely mark him out the first time I was so nervous, and then by the end of it, 2 months of doing that every single day, it's like dude, rodeo arena is like my home right now. This is awesome. This is easy. Um, but you just can't. That shit's priceless.
Mhm.
You can't pay for that. Like that is. But all these guys need help. Like take the initiative. Go ask. If this is something you want to do, go get the experience. Go, because you're going to be at pro rodeos the entire time if you're doing that. You're learning, you're talking to judges on a personal level. You're learning committees. You're learning all these people that are going to be around, announcers, pickup men. Like, they're going to be around the entire time you're there. So it's important that you get in the community and out there and get your name out there
Mm-hmm.
and meet people. And it's huge. Cool. So I think that we did a good job of wrapping this all up, but I hopefully that people know, like, the just getting on and learning thing is done. I
Mm-hmm.
would That's a hard pass from the Champion Living crew. Get some patience, learn the fundamentals. Hey, if you want to start learning the fundamentals now and want to know how to build a spurboard, ride a drop barrel correctly, we can help you. Like, we can definitely help you and will help you. So if you want to start training, start getting that strength and power built along with the fundamentals, dude, reach out. Let's get you going. Go to the website, championlivingfitness.com, become an athlete form, click it. It's free to set up a consult. Literally, we'll just answer all your questions. And if it's a good fit, we'll rock on. If not, we'll recommend you to somebody else that we trust and know can help you. Again, and then second thing, getting that individualized instruction here. Like, go take the time to get tailored coaching for you. Go. There's too many resources out there in today's world to not do it. You have no excuses to not go get the proper knowledge. All it takes is time and sometimes a little persistence with getting through the door with that one person, right? And it could be just as simple as your message went to their request box and they don't check that. Like,
Yeah.
comment on their picture, like whatever, like get their attention. It can be done. Um, Biggest thing here, we want to build rodeo athletes. We don't want to destroy them. And I think this goes for every single event. Not just we just get the rough stock is important because we do have young athletes, a lot of them competing in this, and it can make or break them as athletes, as people, and the sport too. So doing it correctly is really essential to seeing rodeo go where we want to see it go, and seeing the type of riders be developed that we want to see develop. Right? If we keep doing the same things and expecting different results, it's crazy. Absolute idiocracy. It's actually insanity. So we've got to change it, right? And we're doing a great job of that. There are so many schools out there. Like I said, Cody Custer does a great job in the bull riding. The Frost brothers, hello,
Mm-hmm.
Joe and Josh are absolutely crushing it when it comes to bull riding information. Look at their Facebook, look at their Instagrams. There's tons of tips on there. Had a kid message me looking for a bull riding mentor the other day. I'm like, dude, I'm just not your guy, but you need to check out the Frost Brothers because that's
Mm-hmm.
where it's at. Like, these guys are changing the game when it comes to bull riding. So check them out. Obviously, our OPAs. If you're a horse rider, bareback rider, bronc rider, we got one coming up in November. Again, we haven't announced it yet, but I'm keeping announcing it on the podcast. Give you guys the first dibs on it. It's going to be in Huntsville, Texas, first week of November. Just a game changer, man. We have guys that came to our schools before that last year and made circuit finals this year, and
Mm-hmm.
left our school and went and won $5,000 that weekend, doubled what they paid for the school. It's crazy. But if you want to be a professional athlete, if you're someone that has been doing all the things and you're not seeing the results, this is for you, dude. This is not for beginners. This is like the combine of the PRCA for bareback and saddle bronc riders. If you want to be a professional athlete, come here and learn all the things you're going to need to learn to be good at it and be elite. Otherwise, you're going to get left in the dust by the dudes that do. You guys got anything else to wrap this up?
No, man, that was like the perfect mic drop right there.
Perfect. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later. Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping or you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. The tincture, take 2 full drops underneath the tongue right before bed, and my HRV and recovery scores have never been higher. And not to mention the warming cream, y'all. I swear by this stuff. It works immediately. 10 plus years of rodeo experience and working out for another 10 plus years pretty intensely. I come across some aches and pains. And so that warming lotion is my go-to to get rid of those and to get rid of it quickly. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro, PWRpro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk at discount.